It's Chuck from Above the Basement, Boston Music and Conversation. How would you like to join us in creating great conversations that inspire and connect? Patreon is a membership platform that provides a way for creators like us to build relationships and provide exclusive experiences to subscribers or patrons. We have been self-financed since we got off the ground in June of 2016, but in order to continue to fully invest all we can in each episode, we need your patronage. For more information, please go to patreon.com/Above the Basement. When we got word that Brent Shuttleworth was coming to town, we saw it as an opportunity to celebrate the Nashville-Boston connection, new and old friends, and experience a fresh, unique style of songwriting and performing. We wanted to do something new, so we gathered some ATB friends and fans together at Rapscallions Table and Tap in Acton, Massachusetts, and did our first live episode that we are calling a ConcertCast. Brent immersed himself into the audience with his music and strong spirit. He worked his craft of combining a classic singer-songwriter vibe along with new beats and loops via a control surface called Maschine. We talked about his journey and method, his love for visual art and expression, and how his terrifying assault by several men that caused a head injury and almost killed him changed his perspective on life and his music forever. This was also a sort of homecoming for Brent, as he spent several years here as a kid, and we were excited to invite him to the ConcertCast stage for music and conversation. So here is our conversation with Brent Shuttleworth, recorded at Rapscallions Table and Tap in Acton, Massachusetts. All right, so Brent, welcome back to Boston. You came just recently from Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yep.
You're on tour now doing house concerts.
Yep, house concerts, small venues, small festivals, and stuff like that.
So now this is a real departure from what you used to do.
Yeah, I've been traveling around, touring heavily for the past 4 or 5 years, mainly doing solo acoustic and solo electric. And I think that, just a big part of my inspiration in trying to do something new is just when I go around and talk to people and they give me music to listen to, I've just been really inspired by a lot of the new sounds that I've heard and a lot of new artists and songwriters. So I wanted to kind of represent my music in the way that I hear it in my head, which is a really fun thing to be able to do. Yeah.
Well, I've told the story before where someone hired me to be a lead singer for the band. And I'm a guitarist, so I'm used to singing with a guitar.
Yeah.
Right? And so I had to be up there and not have a guitar and have just the microphone in front of me. Right. And it was so foreign to me. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to do with my hands. It was very awkward until I started channeling Steven Tyler and taking the microphone stand and lifting it up and spinning it around.
Put some bandanas on it.
Is the awkwardness a lot like this?
Yes, it is. But you're a guitarist, right? Those are your roots.
Those are my roots for
so
sure.
Do you feel like you're in a foreign land up there, like working all that without a guitar?
1,000%. Yeah. This is my third show, running loops and working on mixing and productions and being able to have a cool way to, represent the music and experiment with some different sounds.
Okay, Brent. What is that thing up there?
It's called Maschine.
Maschine. How did you even find out about it?
Well, basically, it's a newer MPC player. So it samples, right? It has a bunch of different abilities to. You can have different chord sets and stuff like that, as you'll see later on in the set. I play it like a piano, and so it's a cool thing that does different arpeggiations. It samples stuff, and basically, I went through and reproduced a lot of my old records and a lot of the new stuff that I've been writing on Maschine to be able to run it in these 4 to 8 bar loops.
It gives you such freedom, but is it daunting at all to, where do you start sometimes? I mean, you just have an idea that pops in your head just like you'd have for, let's say, a melody or something you'd write on piano or guitar? Or?
Yeah, I think the base of everything is piano or guitar. I'm not a top line writer. The inspiration always comes from picking up a real instrument and playing piano and playing guitar. So I think all of the songs are really written that way, which is has been a big part of my influence in Nashville. The songwriting process down there is based in organic instruments and less of top lining and writing to tracks and stuff like that.
Right. And so, that was my next question is you're living in a place it's one of the homes of country music. If you listen to your albums, you do have some pretty classic, bare-bones guitar stuff that's beautiful. In Nashville, do you find that you're a little fish in a big pond type of thing, or do you find that there's other people you're connecting with this type of more Maschine music? Or
that's a great question. I haven't really thought about that.
Do you care?
Not really, at all. I don't really see myself as a part of the music industry per se in any sort of structural sort of way. I'm not reliant on any sort of, publishers or record labels to approve anything that I'm doing. So everything that I do is directly, related to me following my own muse and doing what inspires me the most. So a lot of the industry in Nashville is centered around country music. I obviously, I don't play country music, but I have respect for great songs.
But this is such a departure from what you have done before. How much of that horrible thing that happened to you changed the direction now, or was it that specifically, or was it this is the music I want to make, I'm going to take this new chance I have and do the music I really want to do, or what?
Yeah, I think it's actually a combination of things. When I had my incident, right, it was, I don't think this is specific to me in any way. I think that a lot of people go through different periods of trauma in their life, and this was just one thing that happened to me. But it definitely was an experience that woke me up to the reality of the finite nature of life and that it can be over at any moment. And for me, I love music more than anything in the world, and I love creating music more than anything in the world. So for me to be able to be free and follow my muse and write the songs that I want to write the songs that speak to me, as an artist, I have a responsibility to really cut through all the
you can say it.
Okay. We're cutting through the bullshit. I think that, it was initially inspired by that event, just in terms of the freedom and not wanting to necessarily fit myself or my tastes into a specific box that's identifiable for people, that people can just check off and say, oh, Brent Shuttleworth does this sort of music. And for me, it's more than that.
Do you find that the music that you wrote as you recovered from your head injury had any type of development in and of itself? Did you think of things differently than you did before 2010? It may be a hard question because your music changes, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think I stopped thinking about what other people were going to think of my music. And I think that I just thought less. It's not that I changed, my approach didn't change significantly. It was just, I think that I just stopped thinking. I think that I stopped caring what other people, I care what people think of my music in the sense that I want to connect to people. But in terms of, any sort of like commercial sense, I just wanted to be happy. I wanted to have a simplicity to my life where I could go be the person that I am and be able to travel and connect to people in any sort of environment. That to me is my purpose. So I was enabled to do that a little bit more by thinking less, and just having a sense of freedom from that incident. I got to say that I've been, incredibly fortunate too to have people around me that have been really supportive of me. Mike Shimshak being the,
Every time you say Shimshak, you have to take a drink of your beer. Shimshak! Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
So, as a friend and as a creative person, as a producer, as a songwriter, as I was explaining to you, Shimshak. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing is a lot of that is because of Mike. I think he's the most talented songwriter and producer I've ever heard in my life, and I'm just a big fan. I'm a fan more than anything, and I just feel fortunate to be able to work with him.
When you lose it all, with no one to catch you when you fall, I will be waiting in the dark. I'll be here for you. When you find your way through everything you thought would stay, we will be living for the day, and I'll be here for you. When your world breaks down and you've hit the ground, when there's no way out, I will be right here for you. There's no better place than here today. I want you to stay. I will be right here for you.
So I want to talk about the little pieces there you have pre-recorded and all that.
Yep,
so,
samples.
Yeah, samples. Tell me how you put those together. Now, some of them samples that you purchase and that are already done by other people. Are they all created by yourself? Are the beats done by you? Or are they...
Yeah, everything is done by me with the exception of there are some things that I've created, and then there's also some things that I've sampled from other file sharing programs. There's a program, called Splice, where it's a royalty-free way of sharing different snippets of music for producers. And it's a really inspiring place to go and hear what other people are doing. It's a very cutting-edge sort of thing. So I'll take like a small little piece and then create a melody over it, or make chords out of it, or just make my own sounds in order to support the overall idea of a particular song that I'm working on. But all the beats and stuff are all mine.
You're playing up there, and I can see you certainly have sequences that are planned.
Yeah.
How much of this up there is improvised?
A lot of it is improvised. I have a general idea of what I'm going to do. I've experimented a lot with different sounds, so I know that there's certain things that I think work. I don't know when I'm going to do them. It's not scripted out. Like, every show will be different, I'll never play the same show twice. It's not like going up and hitting spacebar and just playing along to a track that's totally stagnant. It's basically every 4 bars is triggering something else. So you get an inherently different experience every night. It makes it more fun for me and hopefully for people that like it.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that. I mean, because you make it sound so natural, and a lot of times people are listening, I don't know about everybody else, but yeah, you're hitting different knobs and buttons on the machine. I love that there's improvisation within something that seems so Maschine-like. It's a kind of a cool dichotomy. And I want to switch gears a little bit, and then we're going to hear a little bit. We're going to hear from you guys. We want to think of some questions you might have. I want to ask about the recording process, because you worked with some greats like Zier, who played drums with John Mayer, and Genesis as well, I think. You've played with some pretty iconic people in the studio. Now, Nashville really has that gravitas. You get people that come to Nashville to do studio work. What was that experience like to come in with these songs? And
Nir Z he's my favorite drummer in the whole world. He's played on some really incredibly influential records, and is also a great studio player. He's a machine. He's a true master at his craft. So he played drums on Feels Like Flying, which is my last record. It's so cool because he knows the feel that I like, but he also makes it very unique. No two bars are exactly alike. There's constant movement. He's coming in and out and makes it a living, breathing thing. I also got to record with Dan Dugmore, who played with James Taylor for 13 years. He played with Linda Ronstadt for 14 years. He's a pedal steel player. And just his energy as a person, these guys are like absolute gangsters, but they're so humble, and they're so kind, and they're so cool. And they have such good energy, and they come in and they just fluidly process the music through them, and it's so fun to watch. It's my favorite part of making a record, is to see it come together, but also to see the different people's personality come out in things that I've written.
This is you said only your third concert doing this. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is brand new.
It's got to be pretty terrifying, especially. Look, we obviously have some technical difficulties of our own here, right? We don't have nearly as many buttons as he does up there. I mean, you've been playing live for a long, long time, but this is such a new direction for you.
Yeah. And
this is being only the third time you've played in front of an audience. What's the one thing you've discovered that's different from when you were just doing the singer-songwriter guitar?
Well, I think the thing that I need to be the most aware of anything is just dynamics, right? It's everything, because with artists that go out there and they run track, and it's a stagnant sort of thing where there's not a living breathingness to it. I want people to feel something. I want to be able to have the control to bring the track down if I want to, and let there be a moment, or have there be something where I'm playing live. It's not just like a thing that I'm just locked into pre-recorded bars. There can be life to it. So there's parts that will have more energy and more momentum, and I can be able to bring it
You're making
down.
something organic out of something that's not organic, too.
Right. It's making something organic moments out of something that is totally inorganic. And sounds that, I've listened to growing up that have really inspired me, and I'm like, how would I make that music,
The challenge, though, is now you're at the mercy of that machine. If you want to bring it down, you're just playing the guitar. Mm-hmm. That's easy to do. You bring your dynamics on the guitar, how hard you hit the strings, your voice helps as well. You have a lot of eggs in the air when you're up there.
Yeah.
So did you find taking control of that dynamic you're trying to hit, is that much more of a challenge for you?
I have no idea. I don't
still
really
working the problem?
I don't really know the answer to that. I don't think that I'm any sort of master at it. It's something that is fun for me and inspires me. But trying to bring the dynamics down and playing, so tonight I want to play songs that are totally acoustic, right? They're not affected vocals. They're not beat driven. They're just real stories and real connection, And I think that that's something that I learned a lot from doing solo acoustic touring, was that I want it to be an exchange. I don't want it to just be like you sit and you watch and that's it. There can be a conversation had between an audience and a certain moment in the show.
We would like to open it up for a few minutes to ask any question. You guys, we got one over there.
So, hi.
Hey.
So I was watching your set from over here on the side, and I noticed that the machine changed colors a lot, and then sometimes it was just one color.
Right.
What does that mean? How do you know when it changes colors? Is that something you're doing, or is it the machine telling you what's happening like the rest of our lives?
Basically, when you're working with Maschine,
you have your basic group of 16 sounds, right? And you're running these 4-bar loops. You can go into any one of those sounds and turn it into keyboard mode or turn it into chord mode, so you can actually be playing the chords live, or you can put it into keyboard mode so it's individual notes. You can choose your scales. And what I was doing on this last song is I was turning one of the sounds into an ARP, which basically is, it's a circular amount of notes. You can change it to go up or change it to go down or up and down. So there's an incredible amount of variation in it. Those main colors are all my 16 sounds for one song, and then you can go into any one of those songs and kind of mess with the sounds. You can put stutter in it or tremolo or some reverbs and stuff like that. But the ARPs are my favorite. They're pretty fun. And you can assign any color you want to whatever pad that you want. So visually, it makes it easier when you're up in front of people really nervous and you're like, this is where I'm going right here.
Are there any other questions? What's your name, sir?
My name is Eric. Generally, who are your music influencers?
My influences, they span, but I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan. I'm a really big fan of U2, and there's so many newer artists I've been listening to. I've been listening to a lot of Chet Faker. I don't know if you've heard of Chet Faker before. My first concert that I ever went to was at the Orpheum Theater in Boston. I went to see the Allman Brothers. It was one singular moment where I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I watched Dickie Betts and Warren Haynes play together. It blew my mind. It's funny. It's like I don't know how that connects to my music, but I knew that music as a medium is so incredibly powerful to be able to connect to people. But my favorite artists, I listen to a lot of like really classic stuff. I've been listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. I've been listening to a lot of ABBA. I love ABBA. I love how epic ABBA is, and the stacked vocals and the choruses. It's just absolute pop perfection. Yeah.
You said you've done singer-songwriter, like solo guitar stuff, and you've also done this Maschine thing. Have you thought about ever combining the two styles, like maybe looping some guitar and then like playing the Maschine over your guitar and stuff like that? Is that to come?
It's to come. Yeah, for sure.
What's your name?
Stephanie. My name is Stephanie. That looks like Salvador Dali on your arm, and I'm wondering what the influence is there.
Hey, Stephanie. We're going to become best friends real quick. The Salvador Dali influence, one of my favorite painters of all time. My parents live down in Bradenton, Florida, right next to St. Pete, and every time I go to visit them, I go to the Dali Museum. My original love of Dali came from my father, and my father had a reproduction of the Lincoln Dali growing up in our house. For me, it represents my connection with my father. And the thing that I love about Dali is that it's visually incredible to look at, but the symbolism behind it is so incredibly specific. Every little thing is intentional. It's really beautiful and captivating, and some of the paintings are 20 some odd feet tall, and some are, the size of this menu right here. So I think it's beautiful.
One more question from Mr. Bill Newsham.
So we have this beautiful rendition of Salvador Dali on your left arm, and then on your right arm, I noticed this tattoo throughout your performance. My two guesses is that it's either Frankenstein or Dolph Lundgren. Could you elaborate on the tattoo on your right?
The answer is both. So there's a funny story about this tattoo. I got this tattoo in Nashville. I went into a gas station the day after I got it, and the woman behind the counter says, "You pay money for that tattoo?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I wouldn't have." And it hurt my feelings. But this is a painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat, who's a New York artist, Haitian New York artist, and was really one of the creators of street art in the 80s in New York City. But he's also another one of my favorite painters. And this piece that he did in the 80s was a series of boxers, and it's called Cassius Clay. So,
very cool. Thank you.
broken hearts and alcohol. I'm one. I can't breathe, there is nowhere. I'm sinking in, but I don't care. I'm one. You ask me if I've had enough. You ask me if I'm giving up. I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. I'ma say no. Yeah. Staring out into the night. It's dark but I can see the light. I'm one. I've been knocked down chasing a dream. I get back up cause I believe I'm one. You ask me if I've had enough. You ask me if I'm giving up. You ask me if I've had enough. You ask me if I'm giving up. I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. I'ma say no. Yeah.
Everything's gonna be alright, alright. 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 He lost, he lost, he lost, he lost, he lost. He lost, he lost, he lost, he lost, he lost. He lost, he lost, he lost, he lost, he lost. He lost, he lost, he lost, he lost, he lost, he lost.
I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. Oh, I'ma say no. I'ma say no. Yeah. Staring out into the night. It's dark, but I can see the light. I'm one. I'm one.
Thank you.
This is a song called No Regrets. And we can move this into a dance party if anyone feels so inclined. Where's my dancer? Where are my dancers? We got Ron. We got Ron. You're running it through your head behind the tracks of a cigarette, like you should have gone left when you went right, like you should have gone home but you stayed the night. Mama wanna put you in the loony bin. Too much thinking about what could have been, but you're all messed up, but that's alright. I got the prescription that will change your lifestyle. Living will not, living will not, regrets are pop that 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Start living with now, living with now, regrets are pop that 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Yeah, please give it up for our dancers. I used to overthink too much. Couldn't make up my mind what to eat for lunch. Was all tripped up, thought the sky was falling down. The voices in my head was getting too loud. Then I took a trip to a different zone. I found out I ain't the only one, cause we all messed up, but that's alright. I got the prescription that will change your lifestyle. Living will now, living will now, regrets are pop there 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Start living with now, living with now, regrets are pop there 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Yeah, 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 yeah. That shadow, don't be worried about tomorrow and what's waiting for you on the other side. Just let it roll by. Yeah. Trust yourself and no one else should be in control of how you live in your life. That ain't no life, no lie. Give it up for my 2 friends right here. Start living with now, living with now, regrets are pop there 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Start living with now, living with now, regrets are pop there 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Yeah, 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 yeah.
crazy, yeah. Don't you worry about nothing you can't do something about, baby. That's crazy, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't you worry about nothing you can't do something about, baby. That's crazy, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't you worry about nothing you can't do something about, baby. That's crazy.
You ready?
It was quite the evening recording our first ConcertCast in front of a live audience, and we loved it so much, we will be doing it again soon. We'll have more information on that in the coming weeks. Brent is a fantastic guy, and he was a huge hit with the crowd. We highly recommend checking out his music at BrentShuttleworth.com. We would also like to thank Peter at Rapscallions Table and Tap in Acton for his hospitality. You can check them out at DrinkRapscallion.com. And a special thank you to our friend Bill Newsham for emceeing the event. We will also have the complete 45-minute concert Brent performed for us after the conversation as one of our in-concert series episodes on our website, abovethebasement.com, where you can also join us on Patreon, sign up for our newsletter, listen and subscribe to our podcast, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and look at all the nice pictures we post on Instagram. We are everywhere. On behalf of Ronnie and myself, thanks for listening, tell your friends, and remember, Boston music, like its history, is unique.